3 terrifying true horror stories that will give you nightmares.
Deep at night, the traveler was walking through a dense forest. The moon barely illuminated the crooked tree trunks, and the fog slowly spread on the ground. There was a strange silence around. The lantern illuminated only a few steps ahead. The traveler has already realized that he has lost his way. Suddenly, he noticed a faint yellow light between the trees. There was an old house in the depths of the forest. Having no other choice, he went to it. The house looked very old. The walls were skewed, the roof collapsed in places, and the windows were covered with boards. Bundles of dried herbs and small bags with unknown contents were hanging on the porch. The forest around was frighteningly quiet. The traveler went up to the porch, and the boards under his feet creaked. At that moment, the door slowly opened by itself. There were candles burning inside the house. In the center of the room stood a large cauldron, from which thick green smoke rose. An old witch stood over the cauldron and slowly stirred the boiling potion. Bones, herbs, and strange amulets were hanging on the walls. The traveler took a step back, but the floor creaked under his foot. The witch fell silent. Slowly, the witch turned her head. Her eyes glowed with green light, and a creepy smile appeared on her face. She was looking straight at the traveler. "I've been waiting for a guest for a long time," she said softly. The traveler realized that he had to run, but fear has already bound him. The traveler ran out of the house and rushed into the forest. But the forest has changed. The fog became thicker, the trees began to creak and bend. Their branches reached for him as if they were alive. The quiet laughter of a witch was heard behind. It seemed that the forest itself did not want to let him go. At dawn, the forest became quiet again. There was only an extinguished lantern on the ground near the old house. The traveler was no longer there, and in the window of the house stood a dark silhouette of a witch. She looked into the forest as if she was waiting for the next guest.
A guy named Dima installs a surveillance camera at the entrance of his house. He wants to check who always leaves strange notes on his door. The camera doesn't capture anything unusual on the first night. At 3:17 a.m., the camera captures a man in a hood. He's standing in front of Dima's door. But it doesn't move. He just stands there for 20 minutes. Dima is reviewing the recording. He notices that the figure does not breathe. It does not move at all. It's like a mannequin. But at some point, the head turns sharply directly into the camera. The next night, the camera turns on again. But now the figure is already closer to the door, although no one saw her move. At 3:17, the camera records the video again. The figure is already standing close to the door and slowly raises his hand, but it doesn't knock. She puts her ear to the door. The next night, the camera turns on again, but the door is already open. It's dark. In the apartment, the figure slowly leaves the apartment and closes the door. The figure stops in front of the camera, slowly raises his head. Dima's face is under the hood, but his eyes are completely black. He's looking straight into the camera and turns it off.
Mark is unloading the boxes. The silence is almost oppressive. No children, no dogs, no sounds. He notices the house opposite. All the curtains are closed. Scene 2. Mark is getting acquainted with his neighbor. She says a strange phrase. The main thing here is not to watch for too long. At night, Mark looks at the house again. There is a face in the window, but it disappears too abruptly, as if it was turned off. Scene 4. At 3:17 a.m. Mark hears a sound. It's like someone is repeating his steps, but from the street. The figure opposite takes a step ... a second after it. Scene 5. The house looks empty in the afternoon, but the light sometimes turns on. Scene 6. Mark asks the neighbors again, "Have you started seeing him too?" Then it's too late. Scene 7. Mark looks in the mirror at night ... His reflection moves a fraction of a second later. Scene 8. He's filming himself on the phone. In the video, His double moves by himself. Scene 9. Mark calls his ex-wife. She says that he has already called and warned not to look out the windows. Scene 10. The figure in the house opposite raises his hand, and he waves to Mark. Scene 11. Mark decides to come into the house. The neighbors are watching and silent. Scene 12. Inside is an exact copy of his house, but old and destroyed. Scene 13.
What?
He finds a room with screens.
coming
On
here?
them he himself at different
No,
moments.
you don't understand.
Scene 14.
I
There is a
can't
double
stay
behind
here.
him. You've been watching for too
Please,
long.
hurry.
Scene 15.
It's me. On every screen. They're all watching. It's spreading. We have to shut it down now. Help me! What is
Mark
happening?
finds himself inside the house opposite. The double comes out. Scene 16.
Get out!
A new person
They're
moves into
coming!
Mark's house.
What? Who's coming?
We have to go now!
The neighbors are smiling
Hurry.
again. Scene 17.
Take care.
Mark
drive
is standing by the
safe.
window,
Will do. Thanks for stopping
looking
by.
at the new tenant,
Of course. See you soon.
and slowly raises
Yeah,
his hand.
see you.
Bye.